Math 2 students. Kind of sad I don't get to see you guys, but here we are. Made me think a lot about when I told you guys when the sun was gone, right? And I said I was driving to work. I was like, I'm going to be sad when the sun's gone. And you think about something you don't know you'd miss until it's gone. Hey, school is kind of that thing. And I told you then, listen to me now, but believe me later on. And maybe now you believe me that there are things that you don't realize you're going to miss when they're taken away that kind of annoy you and bore you. Anyways, our lessons are I'm gonna do my best to work with you. I have a makeshift smart board here, and I have a projector that's going to project on it. We're going to do our best to make this learning possible without actually seeing each other face to face. What it's going to be a lot of is pausing and having you work, and then there's also going to be an online part with clever applications where you're going to go do your homework there and some practice problems. So we'll try to keep it as simple as possible and as go deeper with less concepts to help you guys out during this remote learning. So please let me know if you have any questions after the video. My office hours are going to be around 10 to 12 any day, but I'll be around the computer if you need help. But let's make this the best of this we can. Lesson days, you just need a piece of paper and some sort of straight edge, and you're just going to draw any line segment. So you're going to draw an endpoint, draw a line, and draw the endpoint. So any line segment. And what I want you to do is try to figure out how you can cut that line segment in half. Not cut with your fingers, but how can we find the midpoint of that line segment. So pause the video, take some time to figure that out, and come back when you're ready. So what I did is I folded the paper in half and I connected the two sides. I connected the points, and we can actually find that line segment here. And the next thing you're going to do is that line that you folded across, or most likely did to find the middle, is you're going to draw that line on your paper. So use your straight edge again, and you're going to trace that line right there. And what you get is that is the perpendicular bisector of the segment we drew. And we're going to prove that. So what I want you to do is pick any point on this line, and you're going to just make a dot anywhere on that line. So I just picked any random point there, and you're going to connect it and make two triangles out of it. So use your straight edge, connect those two, and you're going to make two triangles out of it. So we connect them, and we get this deal right here. So the things we know is we folded it in half, and so these bottom two sides are congruent because it is the bisector. Bisector means cut in half. The other thing we know is it's perpendicular, which means both of these angles at the bottom, those angles are both 90 degrees. And then if you think back to our congruent triangles unit, one of our big things we studied was shared sides. So that shared side, the one they share, is also congruent. So now you can see the triangles are congruent because of side, angle, side. So we can prove those two triangles are congruent with that. So the other thing we know is this angle up here is these two angles up top are congruent. Since the triangles are congruent, we know those angles are congruent. And that is called an angle bisector. It cuts that angle in half like we studied last semester. So we're going to take some notes on this, and then we're going to do some applications on how to use that and some of the algebra behind it. All right. So our first notes here I want you to write down in your toolkit was the perpendicular bisector theorem, which says if a point lies on the perpendicular bisector of a segment. So if we look at segment AB and we find the perpendicular bisector, just like we folded our paper, that would be the crease right there. That point C, then it is equidistant from the endpoints. That means it's the same distance away. So CA is the same distance at CB. So that is our perpendicular bisector theorem. Pause the video And make sure you write that down in your toolkit. And then moving on, we're going to see how can we apply that. So here we have three sort of algebra ways to apply that. And what I want you to do is you're going to pause the video. You're going to do all these problems in your notebook. And then you're going to unpause it, and the answers will be up here. My answers will be up here. And you can see if yours compare, where you did wrong, check your work, check your mistakes, if you made any, and move on from there. All right, so pause that video and get going. So here's my answers. See if they match yours. Basically, we're using the property where since these two are the same, they're congruent, we can set them equal to each other. Same up here. Those two lengths are the same, they're congruent, so we can set them equal to each other. So if you have any mistakes, find out where in the problem you made your mistake. And if you're ready, just let the video keep rolling. The second part we did, where we used the CP/CTC to show that angles were congruent, is called the angle bisector theorem. So since those triangles were congruent, we can say these angles here, if AD bisects the larger angle, then these two lengths are going to be the same. So what that means is we have this big angle right here, and if you cut that angle in half with AD, that means these two are the same. Then that tells us those two lengths are the same there. So we're going to use that congruent equal property in our next slide. Make sure you copy this toolkit or this down in your toolkit as well. So I almost touched it with my hand like it was a smartphone. So again, here's three examples, and you're going to solve for x, and then find the measurement of that angle. So pause the video again, work through the problems, and unpause it when you're ready to move on. So here's my answers. Check them with yours. And if you have any mistakes, please correct them. Find out where you went wrong, or if I made a mistake, let me know. So this is our first lesson, keeping it simple to start. Help me work through this. If there's any suggestions you have, anything I can do to make it better for you, please let me know. We're figuring this out together. This is my first time ever doing something like this. And the second part of the lesson is to go on to Clever, and I've assigned some problems for you, and you're going to work through those problems and submit it on Clever. So that's going to be your homework for the day. Thanks for joining us.